Hey guys, Mike Yaklick here. I have been working on some side mount, escape, and attacks from the bottom for, well, the last decade now. And consistently more and more things are happening where I can start to organize them together and get an actual system of plan A, B, C, D into bottom to top positions. And I love this because it's throwing guys off guard. I'm being able to attack from the bottom into nice, really unconventional sweeps. I'm able to submit people from the bottom, and you know what? Nothing is more frustrating than being on top of side mounting somebody and getting tapped from the guy on the bottom. It blows their mind and it pisses them off, and that's what jiu-jitsu is all about, right? Pissing off your friends. So watch the video and have fun. Study the moves. Everything is very, very basic and simple. With the concepts, the idea is more advanced. Have fun. The stuff that we're going to do today is just escaping the side mount. Okay? Recovery positions from side mount, and then once we get a little bit more familiar with that, then we can work on actually turning the tables and attacking from side mount. So this is something, and we probably got a little bit better view from over here, guys. This is something that I started working on as a white belt because I got my guard passed a lot, and I was fairly not flexible, but kind of the training partners I had would fold me up a lot. So I was forced to kind of be comfortable in awkward positions. I was really good at getting my guard back, so guys started getting better at shutting down my ability to get my guard back, which forced me to do more creative things. So some of this goes back like 10 years to when I had some really big training partners that just smashed me, throw my weights aside. In the last year and a half, I had an injury. I could not physically play guard, so I had to play bottom of side mount, which is frustrating, and then I really started focusing on this a lot. So the key things that we need to start with is where to put your hands for when you're in the bottom of side mount. So if Brendan has side mount, yeah, this is pretty common. Arm underneath the head, he may be up in my shoulder, might be in my armpit, elbows by my hip, knees by my hip, elbows by his, or sorry, knees by his elbow here. This is not a very good position for me, and I know everybody's been caught in it at some point, and it definitely sucks. So we can't let this happen. Most common one that we have is forearm is underneath his hip, head by the hip, and arm comes underneath, hand on the shoulder here. So everyone's seen this position before. This is probably the most common defensive posture for me, being on the bottom. Not a great one, it's just a common one. Another one is hand comes underneath, underhook, and I don't like this, so here, hand is on the head. Okay, so I have a little bit of frame here, and then underhook here, and another common one is this underhook. So forearm on the neck and underhook. So what I like you guys to do is just play with the positions here. You got one, okay, you have two, okay, and three. Now you don't necessarily have to move from one to the other. What I like to see you guys do is, I'm going to stick in one for a little bit, and Brendan's just going to try and keep me flat at the back. Easy for me to get up to my side. I'll switch to two. Brendan's going to try to flatten me out. Okay? You can see this. Flatten me out, Brendan. Okay? And we'll go to three, and Brendan's going to flatten me out here. So I'm not looking to escape this yet. All I want to do is feel where my partner's weight is. Okay? And then feel the position. Okay, if he's going to flatten me out, he's going to redirect his energy somewhere. Where can I redirect it? So everyone's seen the first one. And it should be a super, super common one. The second one, underhook is really common, but a lot of guys let their head get hit. This will help a lot. Okay? And the third one is underhook by the hip, so you can duck out. Okay? So I just want you to play within the positions themselves. And then we're going to get into the stuff that I've been developing for the last little bit. Okay, so go ahead. So the first one, most common one, usually we're stuck in side mount and we can wiggle into those positions, so that's not so bad, right? We can work into it and then start to recover our guard. The second one is not the easiest one to recover because he's already got his hand around my head. So if I'm here trying to get this arm underneath and get an underhook, it's not that easy. The thing is, there's no way that I'm not going to let Brendan get the side mount. Like, I know he's coming, right? Unless I wake up or he surprise attacks me, I should be able to see that, recognize he's coming. So whether he's just passing my guard or going to side mount, okay, I want to get to this position. So what we're going to do to drill this is Brandon's just going to stay on his knees beside me, I'm looking for an underhook, and I just want this hand on my head. So anything that comes off, or any pressure on my forearm, slides up. So if you see it, Brandon goes to side mount here. Yeah, and he tries to cross face me away. If that weight is sliding up my head. So I can throw this arm up. Now, I'm not just going to do this, go ahead, go side mount. I'm not just going to lay flat. Okay, what's the first thing I should be doing? Shrimp. Okay, so I'm here when Brandon said, wait, Brandon's going to say go. Go. I'm on my side. I move my hips away. This should be incredibly frustrating for Brandon to try and hold me down. Okay? If you're working with kids, usually you say, okay, kids have to try to get guard. What's the first thing kids do? This, right? And get kicks to the head. So you got to really encourage the shrimping. So it's not just turn to my side, because I turn into him. I want to shrimp away. My hand cuts in. So right here, nice and close. Hip is by his knee, shoulders by his knee. Brandon's going to say go. Go. There you go. This foot's the important one. This one's okay if it comes off the floor, but not this one. I can't shrimp very well like this. You can do this. That's fine. Okay, so now you're going to do 1 minute rounds with your partner. Top guy gets to say go because he gets a little bit of a head start, a little bit of surprise. Go. And there you go. And just get to here. If you want to scrabble a little bit, get to your knees or put your knee in, that's up to you, that's fine. But try to get as many entrances as you can in that minute. Okay? Go ahead, guys. Like I said, you should recognize, I'm going to get caught in side mount. Usually the times that I'll get flattened out are the times where I'm like, I'm tired. And I stop fighting. Right? And I'm sure it's happened to you guys too, where you're just like, oh, it's a struggle, it's a struggle, it's a struggle. And you're like, I'm tired of fighting, I need a break. And then you just accept side mount, and then you realize what a horrible thing you just did. You're like, oh, now I've really screwed myself. So this idea has worked wonders, right? It creates a lot of momentum. Right? This underhooks create action. So it's good if you know what to do. If you're not sure what to do, then it's not maybe not the best thing sometimes. But it's really, really good idea to play with it. Sometimes you get an underhook. Okay, so underhooks happen when you're flat as well. So I might get stuck in here, go ahead. This is fine to have this. Okay? I will let you know there's one thing, we're not going to get into it because we're getting pretty in depth with other stuff. But if Brandon does this with his hand, don't even bother trying with the underhook here. Okay? This will kill the underhook. Okay, on this side. Okay? And I have to turn and get back to here. Okay? So, but if his hands are here, I can slide in. So the trick is, I don't want to work my hand in and then hang out here for a while, because the longer I hang out here, the more he's going to recognize what's happening. Okay? This idea, this underhook is to get underneath him. So we're here, I'm going to bridge, and then scoot up underneath him. So it's just that reverse shrimp, but it's even easier because now I have something to push off of. So we're here, I'm going to get him to my side a little bit, he's going to try and flatten me out, hand cuts it, duck out. Now whether you're going for your head and arm chokes or take the turtle, that's up to you. I'm not interested, like you guys can do whatever you feel is natural for you. It's just find a position that you can use. So just underhook. So we got a near side underhook, or we have the far side underhook. So again, he's got side mount now. I'm going to bridge in. He's going to try and flatten me out. This will help you north-south escapes as well. Okay, so this underhook, this is a really, really good one to use. Sometimes you can spin and recover guard. Sometimes you can spin and recover a triangle. Okay, go try this one, guys. 1 minute now. Now we're actually getting into the stuff that I've been working on. So this is just all basic stuff. Everybody should know how to put your hands, where to put your hands, and what to look out for. So there's a pretty common thing with most side mounts. People are trying to control your hips and your shoulders, or control your head and your hips, right? And that gets really, really annoying. You guys know that when you get tired, you guys settle in the side mount. Typically the ones that really are annoying to escape are the ones where the guys has your head. What happened is I had that groin injury and I'm still recovering from it. So a lot of my bridging and stripping was very, very challenging, and recovering guard was very difficult for me for a while. So what happened? These guys would try to go to side mount. This is all I want you to work on. I spent about 2 months working with different partners, and all I did is like let them get the side mount, but not let get my head. I would allow myself to be flat. I would allow them to control my hips. I would not allow them to get my head, and that's the one thing that I found that is super, super important. If they control my head, even if they're able to, sometimes they can grab your collar, right around the collarbone, and reel themselves in. oh, then it's gonna really suck, right? And you're stuck. So I don't want Brandon by any means to grab my head, so I started just doing this twin block right here. Hooking, just like you would in self-defense with his arm hooks behind, so I have the back of his elbow as well. And here, now I don't need two hands, but one is fine. Right? But I'm gonna use two, because yeah, this is awkward for Brandon. It's incredibly easy for me to get my knee in. Incredibly easy, and that's all we're gonna work on right now. We're gonna play with different parts of it. So again, Brandon's gonna start on his knees, because I shouldn't just wake up and side mount. And I know it's coming, even if it's off of a throw. So when Brandon goes, says go, go, here. Just relax. I'll allow myself to be fat, try to get my head. Yeah, homoplotous triangles. A lot of stuff is going to start coming up from here. But we just want to play within the position. So this is what you're looking for. Don't let the guy grab your head. Keep your head on the floor. It's okay if you're flat when you're ready to make your move. Bridge, shrimp. Oh. If you catch his arm, great. You know, a lot of you guys have been in this position looking for triangles, coming up looking for homoplotous in the arm bars. Okay, so play with just this, just that. And like I said, 2 months, that's all I did. Is rolling with guys and just let them get side mount, but not let them get my head and just see what they react to. And that's how it started developing. Okay, go ahead guys, 1 minute rounds. So now we're going to get into setting up the trap. Now, you've seen this one before. It's not a very uncommon one, but I'm going to show you a safer way to do it. And it works, the safer way works with the gi better. So we're in this position. Brandon starts to get past my guard. Okay, I block his head. Okay? Or sorry, I block his head grip. I start putting my knee in. And the common thing is for him to try and put his knees. Yeah, you've seen this, right? Pushing on the knee. So I'm going to just pin it. And grab. So you've seen the Kimura sweep before, right? Up, roll around, pop up on top, look for my Kimura or my traditional Kimura, right? You guys also probably seen George St. Pierre, Matt Hughes, first time. George St. Pierre went for what Matt Hughes did, ran around and armbar the guy. And it's a really good combination, both for the bottom guy and the top guy, so we've got to be careful. So the gi version is a little safer. When I get here, I'm just going to pin this. So he puts his hand on my knee, okay? I'm going to grab his belt. Because the arm bar is on this arm, if he runs around, right? So Brandon runs around, you know, and he goes for the arm bar. There we go, that's the danger. But that's only because I'm holding on to the Kimura. So I block, get in here, he starts pushing my knee. Okay, good. I have to be on my side. I don't want to be flat, so this is important. I grab his belt. And then down, up, roll. Brandon tries to roll away from me. Roll away, Brandon. I have his belt. Follow. Okay, and that happens a lot. Guys will just try to run away. Jam on that belt, you'll jam it on the side. It's funny because guys think they're getting away and they get jammed there. So here, you go. Punch it to the ground and we'll keep them on the side for a second so you can start isolating the arm. And so this is a much, much safer way. You're hooking the wrist and you're grabbing the belt. So you're starting the same way as before. You got your two-angle little twin frame. Shrimp away, get your knee in. If they start pushing on your knee, pin the wrist, let them pass, get on your side and grab the belt, sit into them. When they try to flatten you out, spin them. And I'm going to show you next how to set it up if they don't take the bait. Okay, so try the belt version. If you don't have, if it's no gi, you're not supposed to grab shorts, so you got to go Kimura grip. There's not really a better option. Okay? Go ahead, guys. So one of the things, guys, that is really, really common when people are doing the sweep, so we're just going to make a correction, go back to it. You got this, you put this hand on my knee. This is your basic entrance into it, right? So we get trickier ones in a second. It's not this. No, just relax, relax. Let's go with it. You're pacing. Not over his head. Okay? I'm not bench pressing him over. One, it doesn't work. You have to see, like, oh, wait a second, he paced. Okay? Don't roll the guy right over his face. It's not natural. He doesn't want to do it. He's going to fight a little bit harder. Plus, you're going into his own base. So when you're here, get all this. I want to actually get underneath Brandon. I want to create a line like this. We're on the same line as much as possible. So when I turn into him, when he pushes back, I want his hips over my head. This way. So I don't want to roll on my face heavy, but I can't just flip it. Like, okay, don't get me wrong. You can do it. It's not a very efficient use of your energy to do that. And he's likely to land on his face and maybe crank his neck, so that can be a little annoying too. And you get a bigger guy, it's not happening. You're gonna try and you're gonna get jammed. Try to bring it around your head so everything makes a straight line. And then look for the roll. Okay, keep on this. On to the next part. I don't like to make it so obvious of this. I'm gonna go for Kimura because for pretty much the reason Sergio was saying, he's like, well, I'll just sit back, right? And now I have to play guard, and then when I start to do this, he'll posture up and pull his arm out, and then, okay, I got an open guard, which is fine, but I didn't really get anything. We're just back to where we were before. So from here, I like to just hook on the elbow and sit up here. The position's the same. I have the elbow. I push into the guy, he starts to push back. There. I'm just holding onto the elbow. I don't need his wrist until I get on top. Okay? If I grab his wrist, then he knows what I'm going for. And it's not, it used to be a good trick, 5 years ago or so, but people are wise to it now. So you get to hear, all you want is his elbow. So my hand's behind, this one's gonna slide down just a little bit. Reach to my side, and I'm here. He was probably still gonna try and grab my head at this point, because you're not worried too much. Yeah, he's still trying to grab my head. Good.
No knee catch.
You don't have to worry about it. No, it's this shrimp. It's that little push into him. It's going to make his weight come back. And if he doesn't come back, then I'm just going to cut my knee in. Then if his hand comes down, I can choose what I want to do from there. But the key is that elbow and the belt. So I can't be flat. If I am, I'm going to push into him. And then get underneath him. Again, if he rolls away, I follow up and pull him back. And step over. I don't let go of his belt until I get underneath this elbow. Because if I let go now, he's going to start to twist. And I want to hang on to him. Yeah, if he lifts his hip up like he did, punch the belt down. If he tries to put his back on the floor, lift that hip up. There, now that I got this, switch, and we can go. Yes?
With no knee, you grab the hip?
It's from my experience, it's not a very reliable grip. I've tried to, I have long arms, so for me it's okay. But I want to pass it off as like, yeah, that's a great thing to do. Because the angle of the hip is awkward and it's far away. So you're best off stripping your recovery guard. So, but with the belt's a great tool to use. Or cheat, you got shorts. Or underwear. Got cheapo. Yeah. So, elbow is the key on that one, right? Get on your side, get the belt, go into the whole thing. Don't let go of the belt, play with the guy. And this is super important. Yeah, so we're here, I have his hip, or sorry, I have his belt and I have his elbow, but I don't really have anything yet. He's going to be moving around. So just, yeah, play in these positions here. Oh, where do I need this to go? Oh, I got his elbow. That way. And then go. Just go ahead, guys, play with that position now. No wrist control, elbow control. Okay, so a couple questions. One over here was, go ahead, Brandon, you're coming in, you get the block, you shrimp, you do this, and it was what, Sergio, what if he just sits back?
Yeah, you're counting on his momentum to turn.
Yeah, so I'm counting on, I'm going to do this to turn into Brandon, to use his momentum to help sweep him. And if he just sits back, I replace my guard. And I'm going to start attacking this arm right away. Okay? This one in my armpit. Because he's not thinking about that. What's Brandon thinking? He's thinking like, uh-oh, he's going for the arm. So if he sits back, oh, that's fine. Go for the other side. Alright, so that's a nice little distraction. You're playing left to right. Okay, so if he sits back, there's no pressure. Yeah, don't sweep a guy. Good jiu-jitsu is, I'm going to take your suggestion, your idea of like, yeah, I'm going to flatten you out. And now I know what to do. When you try that, I'll use it against you and continue to roll. Okay, so with my experience, this one doesn't really happen that often, but it's good to get you guys an idea of what's happening. So some of you guys have trouble with it. Head over to still, or which way? Some of you guys are going this way. Okay. If you, I don't really want to do that. If I do that, I got something you can do, but let's just work on this. Think about it this way. If Brandon just sits his hips down and keeps his weight centered over me, so right now, right there, okay, so sit your heels back, or here I'm getting too much freedom, I can move. But if he manages to try and keep me flat, okay. I just walk my feet around. Yeah, you can do that. From my experience, so no one just sits there. So no one's just going to try. Yeah, grab my shorts, that's fine. Okay. No one's just going to, it's like, whoa, whoa, stay here. They're going to start switching their hips. Okay? Yeah. But huge, huge. Ready? I want you to pull out a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Here, walk around. Okay? So just try to walk your feet. Walk your feet. See his knee right now? His left knee is on the floor. His right knee's up in the air. Well, from my experience, I don't have to do that. That bridge sets everything up. Okay, so if the guy really sits heavy, I'm not really too concerned. I can shrink and recover. If you make a mistake, and we're going to get into something similar to like this in a second, and I pull this way, and he puts his hand out, I'll just chop his arm, and go for my Kimura here. This one sucks. This is going to be the key for submitting people. Let me chop their arm. Okay, we're going to get into that pretty soon. So don't worry about seeing that one just yet. I just want you guys to practice walk your feet underneath the guy. So if he can't move or won't move, you move underneath him. Okay? Try one more time, guys. That twin, using all of this. So, or using it all the time now. If I don't get the belt, which, let me be honest, man, if I don't get the belts for different reasons, because I don't have this, okay? Usually it's because what I found is I just wanted to play with this position, right? And see what guys do. And sometimes they'll reach around and try to do this, right? Like they're going to control this elbow, because that's definitely a problem for me. I don't want them to control this arm. Then I'm going to start looking for Kimuras and arm bars. Come back. So if I feel Brandon reaching over, I'm going to X here. And then just hold on to this for a bit. Okay? If he tries to come back to grab my head, okay, come back here. If he tries to reach over again, okay, here. Let's see what's happening. Hand on the elbow, or on an armpit. You sit and roll him over, or he places guard. So the pro belts like mark like this one quite a bit. So he passes over. Okay. Sure. This way Brandon's hips are going. He's loading on my hips, so I'm just going to keep dumping him over. Sometimes guys try to posture up, so when they pass the arm over, you start pushing. Yeah. Okay. Then you get guard. Or maybe triangle, if you can catch the arm. But all I want to do right now, remember I said I spent 2 months doing this, it wasn't just this, it was this, and this, and this, and this, and not let the guy grab my head, because it's incredibly annoying. Right? So, back, and forth, and back, and forth, pushing, here. I'm going to sit up, so I take my right hand onto his armpit, sit up. You can see Brandon's hips are on my hips. So all his weight's on my hips, it's easy to sit up from there. Sometimes I'll do that, not too often. I won't just lay on him, he's just trying to be a nice level time. So here, pass over. If I start to push and he postures up, okay. To recover guard. Oh, sit right up. You've got no balance on it. If I start to push and he's sitting on my hips, oh, that's better. Now I can do a roll him. Elbow or armpit are both good grips. Some guys like doing it on the elbow. Some guys like doing it on armpits. I like elbow, but sometimes it slips. I like armpit, but if he brings his elbow down, he's a little stronger with his elbow clamped in. If I can stretch his elbow out, it's easier to off-balance a guy, but it's easier to slip. Armpit's a nicer grip, but he's a little bit less easy. So with your partner, cross, get to an X grip, switch to the side, and then just push his armpit or his elbow away, and then sit up, recover guard, or just feel their balance. If you listen to what his body's telling you, you'll feel the escape. Okay, so don't get too concerned about, oh, I have to do this move. It's just wherever the weight is, take them that way. Okay, go guys. So, sometimes when you're doing this, some of you guys are kind of stumbling onto the second one, and you're not sure if it's right. It's right. When you get this motion, you pass the side, and you start to sit up here, but you see how Brandon's almost like he's walking over my head? Can you walk all the way around, walk all the way around, keep going, and yes, like he wants to go to Sidemount on that side, right? That's natural. But what's happening, some of you guys are like, oh, it's flipping weird. Or he's turning over weird. So if this happens, I feel Brandon just start to walk over, right? One of the first things that's going to happen, you see my knee, my right knee here, it's by his shoulder. If Brandon brings his arm around, it's because I know he's trying to walk all the way around me. It's very, keep that arm on this side. walk around me, but keep that arm here. This is awkward for him. Okay, it's blocking him. So I know right away he's going, because this arm's going to come over. The second that goes over, they're going into this stuff. So we're going to attack with the straight arm bar. Okay. Not a great submission, but it throws a lot of guys off. Okay, so again. So he tries to walk around, but the key is I have to be sensitive, right? The more I try to fight it, the less sensitivity I have. From here, he tries to cross over. I sit up. If that arm comes over, just turn to my knees and hold on to that arm. He's already falling over. This is my best turtle defense. I catch guys all the time, but the thing is keep catching in transition. You don't just wait and turtle. Okay? So, trying to fall over early. So here, oh, there, I hook this arm, I get to my knees, here. Hip out to the side, or sorry, foot out to the side, head up, get through, and go for the arm. Guys tend to get a little lazy with the arm. And I'll show you what to do if you can't get the arm, that's fine. But this sometimes is a nice tap. If not, they'll start to get to their side, and I'll show you what to do that. Okay, so won't worry about anything beyond the arm bar. But the arm bar takes a lot of people off. On top of it, you right here, Brendan. If I go here, sometimes I'll just chase the arm here too. Okay. It's just, like you would in self-defense. Same thing. Just, I'm upside down. So instead of here, this way, here, everything's the same. You already know the mechanics to it, so if you're white belt, you're like, oh, I don't understand. No, you know it. You just don't know it from that position. So if you're here, one elbow's in, he reaches in, I hook it, and start chasing this arm. Whether it's Americana, Camirna, this is very, very annoying for him. It's not a super high percentage submission, but it will get the guy reacting where you can recover into a triangle or a sweep. So again, last time, you're here, he passes over, you go, oh, he reaches, up, go, look for your arm bar. Americana, not so much. Because on Americana, what are you going to do on Americana, Brandon? Walk away, walk away, walk away, run away, run away, run away. Keep running away. Run your feet away from me, run your feet away from me. There, oh, then this is going to happen. So don't go for Americana. You actually will encourage him into a sweep if he figures it out. Okay? Go ahead, guys. I didn't want to get into turtle stuff, but turtle is a little facet of this, right? So it's not a big detail. Sorry, it is a big detail, but I don't want to expand on it too much. On this sweep, we're passing over, we're doing this, and then up, and I get the turtle here. See how my head's on this side, so pass your number one over there. See how my head is looking this way? That's not good for me. So if he jams me up, I'm going to get in trouble. So I'm just going to show you one super important move that's going to help you out for turtle. Is you're on the elbows and knees, and so am I. I don't want him to control the area between my thigh, my ribs, or my chest, my tricep. Anything that comes in here is a problem, unless I know how to use it. Okay. So what I will do is I have a good switch out on one side, and not on the other side. So I hide the one side. So whenever I go to turtle, I'll do this. I understand there's an opening here, so it's a bait. I'm drawing a guy in, and I'm hoping he puts his hand in, not a foot. If he's behind me, I don't leave that pocket open. It's only when he's in front of me, because I wanted to put his hand in, like he's going to go here for a rear control or a darce or anaconda. You just have to be careful he doesn't get his grip. So one hand, elbows in and hands up by my neck, other hand's here. This is how I find that arm bar, because my hand is by my neck to protect him so he doesn't get a good grip on my neck. So if I'm here with Brandon, he cuts his hand in. Yeah, I'm already grabbing his wrist, and then I'll come back and look for the arm. Okay? So that'll frustrate a lot of guys. Play with this hand, not on this side. That doesn't help me much, this side. Because when his arm comes across, I catch it with my wrist. Arm comes back, I hook his elbow with my elbow. Go for the arm bar. So again, I got a pocket on my far side. Okay, good. Now I can use this to sweep, but here's the challenge. See where my head is? This is where I'm going to get crushed. And if Brandon's strong, he might keep his weight and then I'll work for the anaconda or your darce, work for your chokes. And then he's going to slowly start to tie it up. And I'm not in a good position. So what I want to do is when I'm here, if I got this arm, I'm gonna poke my head off to the side, post out, and I look up. Okay, so that's important. I gotta look up, I gotta get my head out to the side. I don't want my head to look down. It's gonna crank on my neck. Okay, so gotta get the head out. You have to post out, you have to sit through. Typically, what I will see down here, I start to catch the arm, I post head out, and then this Brandon will post out with your left leg, Brandon. So I hook his elbow, I don't have anything now. So, from here, if he posts out, I just start chasing the arm. Okay, and I'll take the distraction off his leg. You want to bring his knee in to sweep him. Okay? So keep that in mind. You need to hit your head off to the side. Don't get it pinned down. Keep your head here. Drop the elbow, post. Sit through. Nice and far off the line. Okay, quick feet, quick that sort. Sure. The classical variation. So, yes, no, man, there's a lot of different ways to break a guy's arm. So it's not like this way is better than another way, it's just there are different ways. So you've seen knees down, up, and turn, and kneeling on the guy's arm, same thing. One thing we've seen a lot is this, foot's up. I never really liked this one for years because it felt awkward to turn this knee in. And some people really like it because of their hips. They can turn that knee in. Like Professor Andrew's really good at turn that knee in, posture. And for sure this is good, it keeps him on his side. So if you like that one, absolutely. The classical variation is my foot's on the floor because I lift him up and then I turn. Okay? And the reason behind this is I want to hang Brandon's weight off his shoulder. Okay? Whereas when his shoulder's on the floor, then it's just rotation. But if I can hang his weight off of it, then it's going to be a little bit harder on him. Plus, I'm going to take his ear and stick it into my butt. So now his head does this. When I stretch his head to the side, it loosens his shoulder, which makes it easier to crank. It's not to say anyone is better than the other, because everyone has a counter, right? It's just a different variation. So if you're here and you want to do the classical variation, you have your grip, you're going to go foot up, you have your posture, head is up, okay? So his ear is in my butt. What you have to watch out for is guys will try to back out and slip their head out. Right? Now you chase it. So, like I said, one is not better than another, it's just different than another, because there's a different opportunity for him to escape. Do you know the opportunity to escape? If you like the one where knees on the floor, and that one works for you, do that one. If you like kneeling on the guy's arm and it works for you, do that one. If you like this one, put your knee in, then do that one. If you like the classical version, then you do that one. As long as you're aware of, this is the one I like, this is the escape he's going to try, this is where I'm going to go next if he tries to do his escape. That's fine. The key is, I know what I want to do. Okay, I have my path. I know what he needs to do. When he does what he needs to do, then I do what I want to do. Okay, so we got to keep planning ahead. You always hear the reference from jiu-jitsu to chess. It's like he's always 2-3 steps ahead. You're right, because I make you play my game under my rules, and then make you play to where I want to go. So there's a little detail that you guys are missing. We're here, going to here, and this. Your legs see my knees are down. In this case, it's going to be very awkward for me to get up to my elbow, and now his weight's on my upper ribs. I'm going to get stuck here. The more I try to sit up, my legs come up in the air. So this isn't good for me. And you see how Brandon got his leg around, or his arm around my knee? That's a problem. So let's rewind a little bit. Over here, there. For him to get his arm over my knee, he has to lift up his arm a little bit. There, that'll allow me to sit up. So for him, I want this. I want that knee there, even if it's here. Oh, if I catch it, that's great. It'll lead to what we're doing later. But I need this knee to be up, because I need to feel where his arm is. I'm pushing here. If he turns, then I'm up. See how much I can lift? Because now he's on my hip. I'm stiff arming him. Come back. Rewind a little bit to side mount. See where his weight is now? It's on my upper ribs. When I push and then listen, oh, now he's on my hip. Much easier for me to control his weight. He's on my hip. I can lift him up and move wherever I want. But when his weight's on my ribs, I get jammed there. I can't get my elbow underneath me. So make sure you keep that leg high. Oh, easy to sit up. Move away. If you're going to take his back, wherever you want. But you have to keep your knee up. It doesn't matter where we go, just follow him. Okay? This isn't something I do, flip him over this way, it's just where he's weight from. So keep that leg up, because for him to get his arm around, he has to do this. He'll come up a little bit. He'll give you that space, he'll relieve that weight off your chest, so you can push it over your hips. Okay? I'll borrow John for the next part. So this is a bonus one. I wasn't going to show this one today. Americana defense. Elbow comes in. Okay, John moves his hips away. Oh, no more Americana, right? John's a good example for this one because he's really long. You start going for the arm bar here. And then he turns. If he turns, this is awkward because he's going to run away, and bear hug, and then he's going to end up on top of me. Okay, and that's not what I want to do. So basically, the challenge is his hips are getting away. You get a long guy, and as soon as he bends his arm, put it in your armpit, chop his hips. Okay, John's going to try to run away. I'm going to start over with him, and when I can, I'll hook his leg. This is okay. This is better. I drop my hip here. And there's your Americana. His hand's in my armpit. This is a nasty one. I'm stopping his hip from running away. Just flap. Elbows on his shoulder to cut in. So again, right here. Arm bar. He starts to turn, trap it, and get this hand up. Head is down, walk in and hook. Fall back, hands on the shoulder, crank the arm. It doesn't have to be perfectly 90 degrees. If it's 135, sometimes it works even better at 135 degrees. Okay, so those guys with the long arms, yeah, really nasty one to get caught in. I remember doing this one with Chris, and we were doing this in the living room years and years and years ago, and he kept saying, yeah. And I took yeah, as in like, oh, a little bit more, you're almost there. And it was yeah, pop. And he's like, whoa, sorry. He's like, what's wrong with you? Make sure you tap. People get yeah differently. Right, or no, and maybe it could be no, you're doing it wrong. Right, or no, it's gonna break. Right, so make sure you tap them, because tight, hey, especially the guys with the long arms. Right, the ones that I find this challenging with, they're guys with the shorter arms, can't get the hand underneath the armpit. Okay, but I get the arm bar way easier. Guys with long arms, hard to stretch out and get that arm bar. They start turning, armpit, trap the hip, walk in, keep that leg over, and get your grip. Okay, so those two, the leg is up high. Okay, and this other one, that's just bonus. That's good stuff for you guys that you're here. Okay, go ahead. You get over, sometimes the guys will lock their hands together and you can't get the arm bar, can't get the Americana. So I've got to give you a way to get out of it so you're not just stuck. Because guys will try to throw you from side to side. Okay? So, here, John, however you are here, let me pull, right? It says run it. Oh, can you go back? Here. Just so, because we didn't get that part on tape that we just showed you guys. So I hook and I switch, and sometimes you get jammed here. I just want to run my hips and keep running into John and knock him over, right? So here's the key. I can't get the arm. John, typically, guys will try to throw you over this way, so you don't watch your base. Keep your hips heavy on this side. Okay? So fight that first instinct to bridge, because guys that are smart will try to use that momentum against you, and sometimes you're going to whoa, and then you have to try and run back. So try to keep your hips heavy on this side. Now, I know I'm not going to get the arm because of the grip. I want to wiggle my shoulder up to find his diaphragm. Hand cuts in behind his knee. Hand cuts in behind his knee. Okay. Now, it's important I got the diaphragm right here, right where his ribs meet. That's the key. So I found that soft spot. I step over, and that's where I apply the pressure. So to show you, for that haven't seen before, John, do the alphabet, please.
A, B, C.
Oh, come on, alphabet, loud. That's a position for me to chill out in. I'm going to stall there for a bit. I'm going to borrow Calvin now, because Calvin is a robot. He doesn't express pain. I just want you to. It's hard to, he was going to allow me into the position. It's hard to replicate it just by jumping in. It's best off starting in the position. Ideally, you start the side mount, do the whole thing in there. And I hook it, and run into him. I find his sternum. Hook, alphabet out, Calvin. A, B, C, D.
Come on, Calvin.
Okay.
E, F, G.
calendar robots.
There you go. I don't move until he lets go. That's the key. Because he still has his grip. If I try to adjust and grab his head before he lets go, he's going to throw me. And I'm going to have to try and hope I can find back in position, or I end up in turtle sometimes. So, wait there. It's not hard. I'm going to lift up a little bit with his knees, and that's important because it takes his feet off the floor. So I can't bridge or move very well. So I'm going to lift up and I drive that shoulder to that diaphragm. And the key, he was kind of heavy here, but when I step over, I'm going to drive my shoulder, everything. I'm pushing off my toes, hips are high, drive my shoulder into his diaphragm. He's going to let go and start to push. And then you make a reverse side mount or drop the reverse side mount, that's your choice. Okay, so try this, the key, that diaphragm, right here. Don't go in the stomach. Guys can take the pressure on the stomach and on the chest. It's like not that annoying. So right where your ribs meet, that's the spot we're looking for. Okay? So now we're getting into the fun stuff. My recent trip to Brazil, this is what I was tapping guys out with, what's coming up. Everything I've done before, these are things I tried to do first. I didn't go to this unless I had to go to this. I went to this stuff because I was forced in position. So sometimes you get that just super aggressive guy that just blasts through your guard. It's like, whoa, right? I cannot let him grab my head. It's the number one thing. If he has my hips, okay, that's unfortunate. If he has my shoulders, that's not great, or my elbows. If he has my head, man, I'm screwed. So this is that time where maybe you're trying to go for your frame, but the guy just like blasts through. Oh, take the suggestion and turn to here. Okay. So if I'm here, Calvin's really forcing the head grip, I don't want him to reel me in and get stuck here. It's too late. I have to recognize when it's lost. So I'm here, he's starting to grab my head, go, okay, so forget it. I'm going this way. So this is what we're looking for, headlock guard. I have his head right behind his neck, okay? If I get too high, he might duck out, and this is perfect. I want his elbow here, okay? So this is the position I'm looking for. It's not a very orthodox position. Let's rewind here. But this is more recognizable, right? Kesikatami. This is Kesikatami in the bottom. So the big one is just recognizing when this isn't working anymore. So sometimes you just blast through, that hand shoots up, turn on your side. When you're on your side, you're quite effective. Okay, so I want to try and hold onto his head. Okay, feet are in like this. I'm looking for this arm. So for right now, I'm just going to push the arm into position, and I'll show you how we can trick him in a second. I'm going to grab. Relax your arm, relax. There we go. Step over. I want to step and hook it right behind my knee and pinch it there. Hands together. I'm going to pull my leg back and then pull on his head. Okay. You have probably seen this in Kesikatami for some guys. You push the arm down. Don't push it underneath your knee. This is good for flexible guys that you'll be able to do this too, but you should get right about there. So I want to lift his leg up, or sorry, lift my leg up, pass it down. Now, if I bring my hips forward, I can strain his shoulder. If I pull on his head, I can strain his shoulder. If I do both, I get it much easier. Or I can do this with my leg. Watch my leg. It's the same idea. I'm doing this. See how I pull his head here? Well, this can be considered a neck crank. If I just hold his head, instead of, I want that angle, right? Because if I affect his neck, this will be looser, which makes it harder for him to defend and easier to break. So instead of cranking on his neck, I can just hold it where it is and move my hip away. Oh, that's nastier. Right? So my head, I'm not cranking his head, I'm just holding it here and do the rest. The same happens here. Let's hold it and crank into the position. Crank into the position. Okay? This is a very unorthodox one. It is one where people will stop and they'll try to think, and that's dangerous because I've had a couple on. I've done it twice in competition with this one and against one black belt where they didn't know what to do and they tried to fight a little bit too much and then it breaks. Okay, so be very mindful. Your legs are incredibly strong to do a submission like this. Very easy to recognize shoulder. Okay, so be mindful. Tap off. So again, we're here. He just blasts through. Whoop, turn. Take the suggestion. I'm going to trap his arm, but I'll show you how to do it in a minute. Let's go through the mechanics here. Hold it and back. Over here. Okay. 1, 2. Go ahead, guys. That's just the mechanics of the submission, right? It still works in Kesikatami. I'm just going to show you one thing quick. Here's your bonus that you only get to have on video. I've had a lot of guys do this to me. You catch the arm right up, you get to here, and you start going for submission, and they start to like step over your head, they push your head away, step over. Yeah. You still have it. A lot of guys kind of panic, right? Like if you use your head, like catch me with your leg, Calvin. Yeah, you get this thing, it's like, oh no, they let go, right? No, keep it. Just try to get your head to the floor. Calvin's gonna get on top of me. Good. He's still in the submission. So it doesn't matter. Sometimes I'll just do what Calvin did the first time. I'll push my chin and just shrink away. Oh, that's fine. Nothing's changed at all. I still have it. So don't let go of it. That catches guys off guard though. So you gotta be careful. So now you got head lock guard. Again, it's because my twin wasn't working, the guy blasted through it. It's difficult to get this arm, so I'm going to show you two ways to set guys up. The first one will work once in a while, the second one works a lot better. Put your arm this way. So I put my arm this way, like I'm going to bait a Chimera, because he's going to be like, sweet, Chimera. So if he grabs, I can trap his arm. Okay. So here, I can trap it, and then go up, again, and trap it, and go here. You see what's happening, and keep holding with it. Once you have his elbow, it's really, really easy to start playing with stuff, right? So you're just playing with the idea of, if I go this way, Americana, his arm's gonna come in underneath. Oh, I can't get it. It's too tight. Okay? This way is easier to trap the arm. Sometimes a little harder to get back into this position, but you saw, grab it. If I do go here and he straightens his arm out, straighten your arm out, roll it the other way. There, I can roll him with it. The other way is, I'm here, Calvin's base is back a little bit. Typical self-defense, if I have him in a headlock, what am I going to try and do? Or try to roll him over. So when I go to roll Calvin over, yep, hand hits the floor. That's the trick. Okay? It's hard for guys not to put their hand on the floor. Either they're going to really sink their weight back, okay, and I got an answer for that, or they're going to put their hand on the floor because they don't want to get rolled over. So you have the guy here, and this is what frustrated one of the guys in Brazil, because I caught one of the guys 4 times in about a minute and a half. And the first time was just like, here, headlock guard, and then just caught the arm. Second time, exact same way. Third time, I had to fish a little bit more, because he sat back. So the fourth time I tried this one, I just rolled, he put his hand down, caught it, and he was so mad he was stomping around the gym. It was pretty funny. So from here, just roll the guy. Hand comes down, catch it, and step over. See how my hips in the air? This is the key for those guys that have tight shoulders. Who's got a tight shoulder here? Rob! Let me borrow you.
That was the wrong thing to say.
So I have this. Now Rob's shoulder's tight, like, oh, I can feel it. See, I'm trying to get my leg around. It's tight, isn't it? Yeah. Already, he's ready to tap. Okay. So what happens is sometimes it jams and you're like, oh, I can't get over it. If I try to roll Rob, so my hips are in the air. There. It's much easier if my hips are in the air. I have a little bit more play with my leg. Here, the range of motion in my leg isn't that great. So Rob's leg arm only moves this much. That's where I can feel it's tight. So instead of doing this and keep my hip on the floor, step over. You're going to get a little extra play. Okay, so some guys that are having trouble getting into the position, get those hips up. It's the same thing. Remember, I want to roll the guy, or I want to make him think I'm going to roll him. And if he doesn't put his hands out, I'm going to roll him. I can't roll him by doing this. My hips on the floor. I have to go hips up. Catch his arm. Go into the arm lock. Okay, go ahead, guys. Whip through it quick. Is when I have his head, though. Okay, if his arm's on the other side of his head, sorry, on the other side of my hips, that throw is going to help. Okay, and John was saying, oh, what if the guy does this thing in the nose? Okay, I want to stay in the ball as much as possible, because I know the proper defense is he's going to put his hand on my nose, and where's your other hand going to go, Calvin? Good, and I can try to trap it on the way over, or roll. But the key is that nose thing, right? So if Calvin tries to try and push my nose, I still roll. He'll put his hand down. Okay. That's how I was catching guys. They try to like put it right in your philtrum and then drive it back.
And go into progressive technique.
Yeah, because when he pulls my head back, it actually pulls me into my bridge. So he actually helps me out. But the only difference is I can't see where his hand is. Okay. Right? Here I got a visual reference I can look at it. He pulls back, I got to try and catch it a little bit more. So now is, what if the guy, and this is a really important one, elbows on the floor here, Calvin. Okay? And he hunkers in. He's like, not moving. Right? He's got his base, elbows tight, his base is back. It's like, no, I can't bridge him over because his weight's on his heels. So this is important. This works in a lot of different positions. I'm not going to get into it today, but it's a really important one. This foot's on the floor, so keep this tight. Calvin, stay tight to me. Yeah, just hold on to my elbow or whatever with your hands. Yeah. Foot's on the floor. Hip comes out. And then sit up. And when you sit up, you're sitting right into your lock. Okay. So the weight Calvin gave is a little bit different. Good. My head. This. So I'm like, oh no. See how I'm sitting back? Put your right foot on the floor, Calvin. Knees pointing to the roof. No. I want you to bring your leg out that way. When he scoops out, my elbow starts to come away from my hips. And yes, and then there we go. Okay. He's got the head. Sorry, I got the head. He's tight with his elbows. His weight's back. Okay, there. I wanted to bring the space from his elbow to his hips, make it bigger. So I stretch it out. Right into it. Really easy. So now you got one. If the guy is trying to reach over, you got one just your normal entrance, which I would recommend is just bridge, like you're gonna roll them over, because it's the natural defense. Guys think they're gonna roll, the hand up, go into it. If they try to grab your nose, same thing. If they hunker down, sit back, shrimp out, and now you got it on the bottom, or while you're on top. Go ahead, guys. Just showing you a little detail that's gonna help. Some of you guys are getting a little excited. Again, I want to use as little energy as possible. Put that on the front. So what I don't want to do is bridge. I know it seems a little bit unorthodox. If I bridge, I lift Calvin up and it allows him to move his knees. So now he's lighter. Okay? If I bridge, because that hand's coming up. Okay? He's sitting back. Yeah, elbows are in tight. So if I bridge, it's like, ugh, it's a struggle now. I can't bridge. I can't get the weight out enough. I want to just shrimp. I want to take that elbow and put it up here, right by my head. This is annoying. I want to keep my hip on the floor. I want to grind. So from this angle, what's here? And I just push. And I scoop. And sit up. The more I try to bridge, the more I help Calvin. If I bridge and try to, yeah, no, you can move his base. Move your base. Ah, he's too light. Okay, if he's sitting back, put my hips on the floor. There. And I roll in. I feel comfortable here. Because Calvin, what are you going to do? He's going to try to lift his hips up. It's hard. The more he tries to lift his hips up, go to your knees. Thank you. He actually pulls me up. Okay, you see this? Can I go to your knees, Calvin? See how he falls for a second and gives me a little momentum. So even if I'm not sure where to go, wait till he fights it. Okay, there we go. Let him do the work for you. You don't have to wait for him to do the work for you. It's just if I do, I use less energy. He'll give me a little boost. Okay, so give that a try and then we'll go on to the next section. Go ahead. Again, I want head lock guard. Sorry, that's one thing I'm looking for, right? But if I don't get it, and I get my hand here, I'll look for another variation here, side. Right. So he's got my head. This is more unorthodox stuff. For sure, that's the basics, right? So if you're like a white belt and like, oh crap, I forgot what to do, this is good. Bridge, you start working in. The other hand positions are good if you can remember it. This is nice for the blue belts, right? Because you already know how to move that way. Sometimes you get stuck here. So, turn on my side, and I grab the inside of my leg. This I like because I got my head up. I can keep my hand here. If Calvin's trying to headbutt, bite, punch, elbow, knee me, I can stay really, really tight to him. So I've seen a couple of our guys do this in MMA, and it's great. The challenge was they kept more to the defensive position. They didn't attack from here. I wanted to attack from here. So, just like before, I'm going to bait him with that arm. Here. This is where I've caught a couple guys before. Guys get upset, so they try to push your head down. Right? I know he's going to push my head down, so I have my head up. When he tries to push my head down, this one I've wrecked a lot of guys' shoulders, unfortunately. because it's not a very apparent tap, and it's incredibly frustrating to tap out on top of side mount in this position. Okay, incredibly. And this arm is the key. This is super, super important. If I don't have his arm, Calvin's key is to go to mount and arm bar the other side. Yeah, go ahead, arm bar. Okay. So obviously, I can't let that happen. Trapping the arm is super, super important. So the rest of the stuff that we're doing involves being on our side or having this arm trapped. Okay, once you have the arm trapped, we have a lot of tools at our disposal. I can go push the head, look for triangles, and then chimeras, arm bars. If I want the triangle, I want Calvin to step over my head, or to try and duck under Calvin to here. That's the triangle. Okay, it's hard for me to triangle on this side. We did that so much, I did that so much out in Toronto, they started calling it the Alberta Triangle. That's kind of nice. So, here, this is a good way to trap the arm. The one thing to watch out for is don't knee your partner in the face on purpose. Okay? So we're here, he tries to push my head down. Remember, this one hurts. Okay? If I'm here and he's not pushing, I'm going to push him with his head, triangle, and then switch my grip, look for chimera. You got your wrist lock, you got your arm bar, pass the leg over, or pass his legs over triangle. I don't like that triangle as much. It's a lot of work to get to. I find I get the chimera a lot more often. And use it as a reversal. Okay? So the concept is very, very simple. Grab your leg, because you're on your side and it keeps him tight to you. So if he tries to knee, punch, kick, everything comes up with him. Easy to chop the arm. Okay? And then just play with the free arm. Americanas, triangles, chimeras. And I'm going to show you a couple sweeps from there if it doesn't work out. Okay, go down. Okay guys, so a couple just little things to help. Pick it up, right at side guard. If you want, that whole thing we did before of trying to get his hand on the floor, like chimera works great. If you keep your head in and keep tight like this, guys will tend to try and push off the ground and try to sit up a little bit, and then you can trap the arm, right? Or hold on to his armpit and get that push to get it, okay? But the key is once you have it, this hand's going to come up, and I don't need this one as much anymore because I know Calvin's likely, to try and push my head. So that's why I'm going into the Americana, right? I know he's going to try and do. The proper thing Calvin should do is take his right knee and put it on my belly and get this arm out. This is the threat. So if he gets his arm out and put the knee on belly, and he'll posture up. And if that case, well, he gives me space to move, right? So now I'm not on side mount anymore. I should be moving. I don't just let it go to knee on belly, pull his arm out, and then get him out with side mount again. So we're here. Okay? If I get his arm, when I get it, he goes to knee on belly, and pulls his arm out. Okay, I've got to start moving right away. So don't just let it happen. Trying to remember some of the questions that was coming over here. John, you're if his arm, sorry, that's right. So if he brings his arm around my head, so before I have his arm, so bring this arm, push my head down. Okay, if this happens, okay, we don't want him to do that, right? I want to try and keep my head up. If he does start to push down, okay, now we're back into our exit. Right, starting to sit up and separate. So just keep them away. So we're going to expect those kind of things to happen. Was there another one? The posture one we had over here. Right, so that's the next one. Okay, so Calvin's sitting back a little bit. He's like, no, I know what you're doing. He's going to keep his elbow in tight. This is perfect. Actually, can we rotate down? Good. So this is going to take a little bit of sensitivity. I'm on my side. He's got his elbow in. You see my shoulders by his knee? That's what I'm looking for. His weight is back. His suggestion is saying, hey, I want my weight back. So I'll say, fine, you get your weight all the way back. This, I'm going to let go. Elbow cuts the floor, so his knee's in my armpit. I lift my hip up. Slowly step over. This is really nice side mount. The key is I need his knee in my armpit. I can do it from here too, and just do this and climb up a little bit. This one works great. It's not so much a bridge as is I take my hip to his hip and I just run it. And because his knee can't move, I can roll over.
So you're just going in a bit of a circle around.
Oh yeah.
That way. You're not coming up.
That's great. The challenge is Calvin can do it right back to me. He put his own, yeah. And now he's going down, touches his hip to my hip, yeah. Up my arm, touch my hip to his hip. Up and roll. The challenges I've seen is when guys will do that, put your elbow on the floor, start going it, go ahead, and they do this. They cover your guard. They have to posture back out. So if the guy wants to escape, he's going to have to widen his base. When he widens his base, he gives you an opportunity to recover guard. So that's the key. So this is an uphill turn up. Okay? Here, he's like, oh, he's sitting his weight back. Okay, and make sure I can get my shoulder on his knee, apply an elbow to the floor. I don't need to chop him, but you can. You can do something for your side on the top. So uphill turn up. Go ahead, guys. So again, a couple little extra details now. I got my elbow on the floor, my hands are here. It's not a bridge. Okay? Calvin has a wide base, he's flexible. Okay. As wide as you're comfortable with. Good. See how my hip is past his knee on this side? I can't dig it. Okay? Trap it here. What I'm looking for is when his hip is over top of his heel or just slightly on the outside of the heel. That's when I'm going to make my big push. So I'm here, just walk into Calvin. Oh, there. So you can feel it. Now my leg comes up. My leg comes up so he can't try to get a guard back when we land. If I just do this, I'll do guard. It's natural when you rear roll to bring this leg up anyways. If I do a rear roll with my right shoulder, my right leg comes up. So I trap, walk in, so my hip is on his hip. I bridge, oh, I can see his hip is over top. It's on the outside of his heel now. Perfect time for me to roll. You can do it really slow, man. You can do it fast, no problem. But the sensitivity, right? Go slow and feel that little spot where it's like, oh, his weight just shifted a little bit. It's falling down. Okay? Keep the leg up so he doesn't get guard, because he will get guard if you're lazy. If you try to bridge, you'll roll right into a guard. Which, whatever, you're from the bottom of the side mount to side the guy's guard, not terrible, but why not just go straight to side mount? Okay? Go ahead, guys. Okay, so you guys are doing it. I just want to make sure people recognize. When I put this arm down, my hand's by his hip. I don't have to push. Okay, that's not why my hand's here. It's if I put my hand on the floor, Calvin can step on it. Step over, tap with this. Yeah. Now I just pinned with his shin. Go back. If it's here, step on it. No, it doesn't work. So just, it's not meant to push, it's just meant to be there to float, just to keep it off the floor. Because again, if it's on the floor, first thing he should do is just try to pin it to the floor. Yeah, not just like he did before. Just, he's going to try and bring his knee up. You step on it there, and then you're caught here. It's like, oh, that sucks. So, everything's looking great. You guys got that uphill turn up. We're on this side here. Okay, I baited Calvin. However, I got his arm. Okay, get to this now. This hand grabs my shoulder. This hand pushes his head. So just like our sweeps we did before, the idea is the same. That's why it's really easy to start adding this stuff, because it's just like the headlock one. I trapped his arm, I push, I bridge, I lift up, and I pull his head underneath. This one's great for him, man. You landing a crucifix, arm comes around, Americana, one arm Americana. Okay? So again, we got uphill, downhill. So on my side, tap his arm, push his head, trap. Up, turn, pull his head underneath. Sit through, and then you can get right to your crucifix. Okay. Last one. Go ahead, guys. Okay, so the trick to this one though is if Calvin goes a little bit too light with the Americana, it's going to make this part very soft. And I don't want to straighten my arm out. Okay? The challenge is if he goes too hard, I'm going to have to tap. So we got to play with that kind of happy zone for a bit. Don't get me wrong, this is a last ditch effort to get out of Americana. This is because you screwed up, right? That or you're just playing for fun. So he's got the Americana. I turn on my side, which will buy me some time. The hand is on his shoulder. I bridge, and I pass him underneath me. And come back for my own Americana. We turn. And the nice thing is, I have the Americana. So what's Calvin going to do? He's going to turn to the side and push. Don't strain your arm out because I'll let go. So keep my arms right here. Now, see how my weight is up high? My butt's in the air. So when Calvin bridges, or he lifts his knees up, yeah, I'm coming up underneath. Uh-oh. And now he's gonna get his Americana. He's got his Americana, I turn, I lift, I get my Americana. He turns to his side, oh, my butt's up in the air, he pushes, he gets his. Again, keep it firm. Push him right over his elbows. One more time, Calvin. So on the side, pin my elbow to the floor, yeah, bridge, and turn. Americana, and lastly, get it tight, get it tight, get it tight. Put it on, Calvin, put it on. Yeah, there we go.
You're not pushing the elbow, you're just holding it while
I want to keep it there as a pivot point to knock him over it. So once I start getting on my side, you saw, oh, butt's up in the air. Butt's up in the air, bad problem, right? I'm too light now. So the weight's going all the way to that elbow. Pin it there. If you try to push it out because your arm's straight, then he'll just let go. Which whatever, maybe you get a guard back. But let's try to use this as an advantage, go from bottom side mount Americana to doing it on top. Okay, give it a try, guys. Okay, so the last one was a bonus one. It's new, something I'm playing with. We're going to polish it up, but at least you guys got a little practice, and it's very, very similar to what we did before. Next is, the last two moves are yakalaks. Okay, so these are ones that I've caught a long time ago. I started getting this one first, and I got the other one second. Big guys started like taking me down, right? Sometimes this would happen. So I go for the headlock, and sometimes their head gets out, but the key is this foot has to trap Calvin's foot. I gotta find it. Okay, this is gonna be important for later. Sometimes you see the hand is up or whatever else. You chase the Kimura. You can get Kimuras like this. Okay? Because I have his foot stops him from rolling. So what was happening, I was getting some big guys like Cody and Victor just smash past my guard and I end up in like this headlock. Trap the foot, and I see a Kimura and I go for a Kimura. Now it's natural for Calvin to want to bury this. And when he wants to bury it, Calvin. Bury it, bury it, bury it. There we go. For him to bury it, he needs to put it underneath his hip. Okay. He can't put it underneath his knee, because I have his knee on the floor. So he's got to put it underneath his hip. Now if he does this, put it underneath your hip. And sit back, okay, this is a problem for me. I can't roll him. Now I have to try and sit out and go behind. So I want to stay strong. I want him to bring his hip to my hand, or his hand. Well, see how he's rolling? He's got his hip high. I just roll. And then I sit through. My hands on his stomach, or on my stomach. I can grab his leg if I want. Here, hips off the floor. I slide my hip up this way. I'll start a little lower. My elbow comes off the floor. A lot of pressure on the shoulder here. You just run your way up. Okay. If you're going to hand on the hip again, or the stomach, you can grab the leg, because he'll start to try and run away a little bit sometimes, so you can hold him in place. Okay, it's not a great idea for him to run away, because if he tries to run away, he's kind of running into it as well. But they'll try to play with the legs. So you can hold on to me, hold it, I'll get this motion. So again, I get behind you, trap the foot first. Because this is going to stop him from running around behind me. If I do this to Calvin, he's just going to run around on the back. Right? Oh, now I'm stuck here, so go back here. So before I go for his arm, I go for his foot. Run around behind me, Calvin. No, I'm going to start prying on his arm. He starts to bring his hip up to trap his arm. Roll. Don't let it pop out. But if it does, you're on top. It's not terrible. Keep it underneath, hand in the stomach, and trap it. The second one, that was the first way I started catching the yaku. Second one was from Sidemount. This one here, you start going for Kimura, and guys trap it on their hip. One hand goes on top. Trap the knee, hop over, hands on the stomach. Same thing. So again, you switch your base to start looking after the arm, and they'll grab their hips, right? Pin, hop over, hand on the stomach. Right there. Okay, so those are the two yak locks. Those are the ones I haven't seen anywhere else. Found those ones on my own. It's been, both of those are like 8 years, well, older than the school, so they're looking at 9, maybe 10 years old. So try those two out. Go ahead, guys. Last ones. Yak lock, funky. Telling the guys, I've caught the one on the bottom more than the one in Sidemount, just because in Sidemount I go to more traditional things. I do it for fun. It's to play with body mechanics. It definitely unorthodox guys don't see it. And that's kind of the key with the headlock guard and side guard is they're not the first things that I'm going to do. Okay? But when you start playing with guys that have a little bit more of a game, that's when I'm saying, hey, it's blue belts enough. Because white belts move a little bit differently, and basic things work great against white belts. Blue belts, purple belts, they know how to defend basic things for white belts. So they present different challenges. By doing these kind of like the side lock or side guard and headlock guard, you start presenting unorthodox things to them. And what I found is people will sit and think. Because a blue belt is more methodical than a blue, and a brown is more methodical than a purple, and a black is more methodical than a brown. So blue belts may thrash around a little bit and just try something. And purple belts will just kind of move a little bit, and brown belts will just kind of sit and think, and black belts will move, right, where they need to move. If you can start doing unorthodox things, you get people to stop, and they'll think what they need to do. And if they can stop and think while you have a plan of attack where you're going boom, 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 into this Americana or this sweep, well then they're way too far behind you now, right? So that's what I've recognized is when I'm rolling with guys at my level, is if I can catch them in weird things, they'll sit for a second and try to think what's wrong. But as long as I don't put a pause and wait for them to get a response, then I usually get my sweep or my submission because they're left thinking about what's really going on here. This is new to me. Once they figure it out, and you start doing it over and over again to them, then you have to come up with different setups, right? So the basic ones I showed you, just like trying to turn, so they put their hand on the floor. If you want to trap their arm, man, that one works great because they have to do it. That or they drop their weight back, which means, okay, now you should send them this way. So keep that in mind. It's meant to be for not your basic stuff. Basics work, that's why you learn them first. You don't learn this stuff first. This is playing off the basics because advanced guys give you advanced challenges. Is there any questions about that stuff? It's a lot of information. Best thing, there's a couple guys that take off. Best thing to do is to start the way I started. Find the postures. Right at the beginning, all the gold was at the very, very beginning. At the very end, this is cool stuff. That's neat, right? This is stuff that I've worked on. It's a little bit more fun and polished up. But your hands, the twin frame, the X frame, your defensive postures from side mount, okay? Those are the things that you need to work on. Because if you get that, the rest of this will start to make sense, right? Even if you're like, holy crap, I can't remember all the sweeps and all the submissions, just remember the defensive postures. Once you remember that, the rest is going to play. Because you know how to do Americans, you know how to do side mount, or the sweeps. It's just if you can get to the position. So these things help get you in those positions. Don't accept a bad position. You saw a couple ways we can get out of a bad side mount and do like an uphill turnout. Okay? Or get to our side, to that side guard and start working the head in an unorthodox way. But that twin frame works way better. Don't let anyone grab your head. If that's it for next month when you're playing, just don't let anyone grab your head and see what happens. Okay? They'll start shifting the weight, you'll get your guard back a lot more, then you can start, oh hey, there's that sweep, or that wiping into the X frame. And then sitting up. So just play with that stuff. If you try to think about one move in particular, all the rest are going to get lost. Just start with the structures, and the rest will present itself. And you saw between headlock guard and side guard, the movements are essentially the same. It's just one is the headlock and one is around his hips. Right? A couple of the sweeps, the mechanics are the same. The Americana Escape, the mechanics are the same. It's all the ones that were going this way. So that movement is the same no matter what the position is. So that doesn't matter. Besides that, just watch the video because I took notes for you.
Yeah, one's got some, but one's video coming.
Steve will get it ready. Yeah. All right, thanks guys.
Thanks.